Hi guys, welcome to this video. Today I'll be showing you how to create a simple quiz application using Reactjs and Tailwind CSS. So this is our project, and in the landing page we can see that there is a quiz instructions and a start quiz button. When the user clicks on the start quiz button, they can start attempting the quiz. So questions should be arranged like this. There will be a total of 10 questions, and we can see the progress, the question, and 4 options with this smooth hovering animation. So I'm just going to rush through these questions. So when the user is done, they can click on the finish button, and you will see the result page, which will contain the total number of questions, the total correct answers and the wrong answers given by the user. And when they click on the show my answers button, they can see all the questions and the answers they have given. And finally, when they click on the try again button, they can attempt the quiz again. So let's get started. So first of all, I need you to open VS Code and open a folder. Then we're going to install React, Tailwind CSS, React Router DOM, and Axios. These are the libraries that are required for our project. So we'll be installing React by using Wait, and so make sure that your system Node.js is already installed in your system. If you scroll down over here, we can see that this command. So I'm going to copy this command, go to VS Code and open the terminal. I'm going to paste that command over here. So they're going to ask for a project name, so I'm going to give quiz app. I'm going to select a framework, React with JavaScript. Okay. Now you can see that a project that has been created. I'm going to cd move to that project directory and install the libraries. This may take some time. Okay, now that we are done, I'm going to run our server. So for that, I'm going to write npm run dev. Okay, now if I press, click Control and then tap on this link, you can see that our project React has been successfully installed. Okay. So next we are going to install Tailwind CSS using Wait. Now if we come here, we can see the installation using Wheat. So I'm going to copy this command and paste it over here. So the next step is to copy this and paste it in the white.config.js file. And this line also. Okay, then I'm going to copy this line and paste it in the index.css which is inside the src folder. so we don't need any of this. Okay, so I'm going to clear all the unnecessary code over here, and I'm going to put some boilerplate code. By clicking RFCE, you can see that a boilerplate code has been generated. So now if we come back here, you can see the app written over here. And now if we put some Tailwind CSS code, class names like BG black, and come back, we can see that style has been applied. So Tailwind CSS is successfully installed in this project. Since we are going to be using an API for generating the questions and answers for us, I'm going to install Axios, which is a library to handle API requests. So for that, npm install Axios. And lastly, since we are going to redirect the user, we will be installing React Router DOM. So we're going to copy this command and paste it over here. And that's it. We have successfully downloaded all the libraries that we require for this project. Okay, now that we have completed installing all the libraries that we require for this project, our next step is to create pages and create routes to those pages. So first of all, I'm going to create a folder called pages inside the src folder, and inside this pages folder I'm going to create my first page. So in the starting, I want to show a page with the instructions, so I'm going to call that page start quiz.jsx q and I'm going to put some boilerplate code here. Okay. And when the user starts the quiz, I want to show redirect them to a page with the questions. So I'm going to create another page called quiz.jsx. Okay. Once they have, now I'm going to put some boilerplate code over here. Okay. Now when they have completed the quiz, I want to show them the results. So finally I'm going to create another page called results.jsx. Okay. Now the boilerplate. Okay. Now finally what we have to do is we have to redirect them to redirect the users to these pages. So for that I'm going to grab page and import some libraries like router. You need the route and routes from React Router DOM. Okay, and we need to import all the pages that we have just created. So import start quiz. Okay, import quiz, and lastly import results. Okay, Now we have to redirect the users to these pages. For that I'm going to remove this, and first of all we need to use the router. And inside the router I'm going to put the routes, and inside the routes I am going to define the route, each route. So our first route is the default page. So if the user is in the default page, we want to redirect them to the element start quiz. Okay, so next when they start the quiz, I want them to start attempting the questions. I want them to redirect to the quiz page. Okay, and lastly when they have completed the quiz, I want them to see their results in the results page. Okay, now that we have completed this, what we have to do is I'm going to run the server. Okay, okay, see, by default we are seeing the start quiz page. Now if I go here and put the quiz, we have been redirected to the quiz page. And lastly, okay, now we are being correctly redirecting to the results page. So that's it, we have successfully implemented the routes to each pages. Okay, now that we have completed routing to these pages, we can start developing each page. So I'm going to start with the start quiz page. So this is a live project. So first I'm going to start with the UI of this project. So in this landing page we can see a background gradient with a card inside, and I'm going to use Tailwind CSS for styling. So in this okay, so first I'm going to remove this and add some classes. I'm going to give indigo 100 to purple 200. Yeah, so you can see that gradient is set. Next we are going to design this card. For that I'm going to create another div with class name. Card should have a background of white, should have a small shadow effect, and rounded, should have a max width of 3XL. I'm going to give it a padding, and yeah, you can see here, and I want it to be aligned in the center. So over here I'm going to give flex items center and justify center. Now it's aligned in the center. Okay, now inside this div what we need is this heading, so I'm going to copy this icon h2, the class name, and I'm going to give the heading this instructions, and I'm going to give text 3XL in small screens, and in large screens I'm going to give text 4XL. I'm going to give a font bold to make it bold. Yeah, and I need this indigo color, so I'm going to give it text indigo 700, and I need it to be aligned in the center, so text center, and lastly a small margin at the bottom. So you can see the padding is more in large screen, so over here I'm going to give P. Okay, next I'm going to create this, so I'm going to copy this text from here just to save some time on the typing, so I'm going to paste it over here, and I'm going to give some classes like a subtle color, text gray 600, and I want it to be center aligned, and I'm going to use a small margin at the bottom. Okay, that's good. That looks good. Next I'm going to copy this content and paste it here. So I'm going to put this inside a UL. Okay, now you can see I have added the content and styled it, and lastly we have this start quiz button. The start quiz button is going to redirect us to the quiz page. So for that I'm going to use a component that comes with the React router DOM called link. So I'm going to import it here from React router DOM. So this link component will help us to redirect users to different pages. And text start quiz. Now if we come back over here, we can see start quiz written over here. Now I'm going to give this some styling. So main block bg indigo 600. So when I hover on this, it's becoming a little dark, so bg indigo 700 to give a text of white color. Okay, yeah, I made a mistake over here. Over. And a large font size with semi-bold and PY3, some padding, small shadow effect, and some animation for the hover effect. Okay, now I want to make this link in the center, so for that I'm going to put this link inside a div, and give some classes like text center and some margin at the top. Now we can say that our UI looks similar to the finished project. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to fetch the questions that are required for the quiz, and we're going to pass those questions to the next page through the link. And another step that we have to do is we have to redirect the user to the quiz page. That we can do by adding the to element to/quiz. This quiz comes from the path over here. Okay, now if we click on the start quiz button, we are redirected to the quiz page. Okay, now that we have completed the styling, what we need to do next is to fetch the questions that are required in the quiz page. Okay, so for that I'm going to use a free service called opentdb.com. Okay, so this is a trivia database that contains free to use user contributed questions. So here go to the API section, and here you can select the number of questions, the category, and I selected the science computers category, and difficulty was easy, and encoding I kept it in the default encoding. And when you click on the generate API URL, you will get a URL. So I'm going to paste my URL here. Okay, so this is how the questions come from the API. So you can see that in each of these questions we can see there is a question, correct answer and incorrect answer. So the problem here is that correct answer is coming separately as a string, and incorrect answer is a array of strings. So when we receive this API, this response from the API, first thing that we have to do is we have to create a new key value pair in each of these questions, and I'm going to call that answers. These answers key will have an array of options which includes the correct answer and all the incorrect answers in a random order, so that we can easily show these questions in this format. Okay, so okay, now here I'm going to define a function called fetch questions. This is an arrow function, and since we are going to fetch from an API, it will be an asynchronous function. Okay, now I'm going to use the Axios library to fetch from the API. So I'm going to import that here. Import. Okay, now I'm going to fetch from the API. await choose dot get. Here I'm going to paste my API URL. Okay, now I'm going to store the response in a variable called const response equal to. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to console log this response. And I'm going to call this function when the first time this StatQuiz component is rendered. So that for that I'm going to use the hook use effect. So I'm going to import that here. Okay, so with that use effect. Okay, now I'm going to call an arrow function. And inside this arrow function I'm going to call the fetch questions. Okay, and since I want to be called the first time it's rendered, I'm going to put this over here. Okay, now if we check and refresh, we can see that a response is printed over here, and in the data results you can see multiple choice questions. Okay, so now I'm going to put that over here, like data results. If I clear this and refresh, I can see that the questions are printed correctly. Okay, next thing we have to do is we have to loop through these questions and create a new key value pair called options or answers. I'm going to call it answers. This key value pair will be an array of answers which includes the correct answer and incorrect answers in a random order. Okay, so for that I'm going to store this in a variable. Okay, so okay, now I'm going to loop through these questions. For that I'm going to use the mapping function. Okay, map, I'm going to take each question and I'm going to pass it through this function. So I'm going to add a new key value pair. So I want everything in the question array and a new pair called answers, and these answers will contain everything in the question dot incorrect answers NSWRs and correct answer. Wait. Correct answer. Okay, now I want to make this array in a sorted in a random order. So I'm going to use the sort function, sort method, and call this function, call an arrow function that will randomize. Use the math dot random and okay. Now what we are going to do is I'm going to store this in a variable const. I'm going to call it formatted questions, or questions equal to this. Now I'm going to console log this formatted questions. Okay, I made that mistake. I made a small mistake. So, okay. Now we can see that questions, the formatted questions have been printed over here. Now we can see the answers array is appearing with the okay. The correct answer is gigahertz, which is not in the, which is in a random position. Okay. The second question, correct answer is hexadecimal. It's also in a random position. So that has worked. So what we have to do is we have to store this formatted question in a state in order to pass this to a different page. So what we have to define a state. So for that I'm going to include the useState hook. Okay, and I'm going to define a state. Once I'm going to call it questions, comma, set questions. Okay, so it will be equal to useState. It will be an empty object. Okay, now instead of console logging it and logging the formatted questions, I'm going to store it in the set in the questions state. Now the next thing that you have to do is you have to pass these questions to the quiz page. So for that I'm going to copy this, come over here and create a type a new line called state with the double curly brackets and paste this over here. That's how we pass the questions to the next page. Okay. Okay, now that we have completed this page and we are passing the questions to the quiz page. So first we have to check if the questions that we are passing to this page is reaching this page or not. So for that I'm going to use the use location hook that comes with React Router DOM. So I'm going to import that. Okay, now I'm going to store this use location in a variable. I'm going to call that variable location. Okay, now I'm going to console log this location. Let's see what we are going to get. I'm going to go back, clear it, and if I click on the start quiz button, okay, here we can see the state parameter, and inside this we have a questions array with our multiple questions. We can see that the questions are coming inside the state key, and in order to console log the questions directly, I'm going to write question.state.questions. Okay, now we can see that our questions are getting console log directly. Okay, so now I'm going to store these questions in a state so that we can use it in this page. So for that I'm going to import the useState hook. Okay, and I'm going to define a new state. I'm going to call it questions itself, questions dot and set questions, and useState, and I'm going to store this. By default I want this value to be here. Okay, next what we can do is we can put more safety checks just in case these questions did not reach this page. Okay, for that we can use we need the use effect hook, and what I'm going to do is use effect okay. Inside we can check if not questions or questions dot length equal to 0. Okay, if the questions is null or if its length is 0, we can redirect the user back to the start quiz page. So to redirect the user, we need to use the use navigate hook that comes with the React router down. So I'm going to import it over here, and I need to, just like location, I need to store it in a variable. Honest. Okay, I'm going to copy this and paste it over here, and if the questions came as null, I can redirect the user back to the home page. And this use effect should take place if the questions value of questions changes or navigated to this page directly. Okay, now we can show these questions one by one to the users. For that we need to define a state to keep track of which question the user is currently at. So for that I'm going to define a state const current question. I'm going to call it current question index. So now I need to get the current question from the questions array. So by default it will be the first question. First question, it will be the array with the key value of 0 or index value 0. So to get the current question, and I'm going to put it in a variable. So the current question will be equal to the questions of questions array of current questions index, which will be 0 by default. So in this variable we have the current question. Again, this current question variable we have stored the current question. So we have to create an interface to show this question to the user. So if we can check if the this is done correctly, so I'm going to print dot question over here, and if you check, you can see the question is coming over here correctly. So we need to create a beautiful looking interface to show this question to the user, like we saw in the finished project. So you can code along with me. Last name. So we need the same gradient effect that we gave in the start quiz page. Okay, we're going to copy this and paste it over here. Okay, now if we come over here, we can see the gradient has been applied, and inside this gradient we need a card similar to this one, I'm going to copy this and paste it over here. Okay, now if we come back, we can see this card. Now we need to show the question like we can see over here. So for that, we need to add some styling. So to class name, we're going to give a text of 2 XL, and in medium screens we can increase it to 3 XL, and the font can be bold. Text indigo, 700, need to be center aligned, and should have a small margin bottom. Okay, and this is going to show the progress of the user. So for that, I'm going to question, I'm going to use the current question index. If you come back over here, it's 0. So that is the index of the current question. So it's going to be current question index plus 1 of the total number of questions. So I'm going to give questions dot length. So if we come over here, we can see question 1 of 10. Turn over here. So I'm going to close this. Okay. Next, I'm going to print the question like this. For that, I'm going to create a paragraph tab and class name. I'm going to give it a subtle gray color and a large text. Need it to be center aligned and with a small margin at the bottom. And inside this paragraph, I'm going to print the question. So it's going to be current question dot question. Now if we check, we can see, okay, the question is printed over here correctly. Next, we need to print the options in this format with the hover animation. So for that, we can use the mapping function. Okay, I'm going to put the options inside the div. Class name, space y4. Okay, so inside this div, I'm going to map each options. Okay, so here I'm going to now I'm going to take each answer so inside here I'm going to define a button. This button should contain the key, which I'm going to give as the index. And here I'm going to print each of the answers. So for that, Now you can see that the 4 options have been printed over here one by one. So I'm going to style these buttons. So I'm going to give a class name and I'm going to increase the width to full and px5. We need a small border radius and a very subtle border. So I'm going to give small transition. Sure. Now if we come back over here and check, we can see that the options are neatly arranged in 4 different buttons. So when the user clicks on or hovers over these buttons, they should see a subtle smooth animation like we can see over here. So for that I'm going to give some more classes. Now when the user hovers on it, I want to change the background and make the button a little bit bigger. So for that I'm going to add hover background indigo 100 and hover scale 105. Now if we check, you can see the hover effect similar to this one. Yeah. Next what we have to do is, if when the user selects this option, it has to stay selected like in this live one. See, and we need this next button, but we'll do that later. First we will focus on setting this. So for this what we have to do is we need to store the answer that is selected by the user in a state, and if the selected answer, if the option is equal to the answer that is selected, then we need to give it a special styling. So first I'm going to create a new state. And by default this is going to be null. Okay, so here what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an on click property, and when the user clicks on this option, I want to set selected the answer that user has selected. Now if the current answer is the answer that is selected by the user, I need to give it a special styling. So we need to modify this into and the tilde, sorry, if and okay, and after this shadow SM, I'm going to give a condition. Now if I'm going to check if the selected state is equal to the answer selected by the user. If this is true, then I need to give it a styling of VG indigo 600 will do, text white, and I want it to be a little bigger, so scale 105. And else we can give this hover effect or okay. Okay, now if we come back over here and if we select one, it will stay selected like in the live project. Okay, now what we have to do is we need to set up a next button to navigate the user to the next page and for the next. So over here I'm going to create a new clip and with the class name MT8 and text sender. Yes. Do it and okay, so by I'm going to put the next text over here. So by default this button should be disabled, so I'm going to either disabled equal to in curly brackets. If no answer is selected, then it should be disabled. Okay, and I'm going to give some styling for this button. Name equal to, since I'm going to give a condition, I'm going to put the forward this way. X8 by 3 rounded Excel font semi bold. Let's tell the okay. Now I'm going to give some conditions to handle if the button is not disabled. I need to give some styling. So for that, okay, instead over here I'm going to check if selected. If an option is selected, then I need the background color to be indigo 600, right, over VG indigo 700 and over scale 105. Okay, else if it's not selected, I need to give it a another styling to show that it's disabled, so that it will be like this. Okay, now if we come back over here, you can see the next button, and if I click on the next button, nothing will happen. If I refresh this page, its default is disabled. Okay, now when I select it, it's changing its style. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to navigate to the next question when the user clicks on the next button. So for that, I'm going to create a function called handle next. Okay, and when we click on the next button on click, I need to refer to the handle next function which we are going to create. So I'm going to copy this and come over here. Okay, const, it's going to be an arrow function. Okay, now what we have to do here is we need to change the index to the we just have to increment the index so that we can navigate to the next question. So you can do it like this. So first we're going to check if the current question index is less than the total number of questions, because if it is equal to the total number of questions, we need to redirect to the result page. So if it is less than the total questions, we just need to navigate through each question. So first I'm going to check if the current question index is less than the total length of the questions, total number of questions. Okay, in the last condition, if it is equal to the length, then I want to redirect this user to the next result page when they click on it. So for that we can use the navigate over here. And redirect to the results. We go over here. Yeah, that's the path name. So in that case we'll be redirected to the results page, and here I'm going to set current question index with the current question index plus 1, and I'm going to reset the selected answer. So I'm going to copy this and set selected equal to null, so that when the user is navigated to the next question, the selected option should be null, so that they can select a new option from the new question. So now if we come back over here, I'm going to select an option and click on the next button, and you can see we are navigated to the next question correctly. Okay, now we can see that we have the last question. Now we need to modify this button to show the text finish instead of the next, to indicate the user that the quiz is completed and we are going to be redirected to the result page. So for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, and instead of giving this next, I'm going to get a condition: if the current question index is less than the questions length, questions dot length minus 1, then I need to give the next text, otherwise I need to see the finished text. You can see that it's written finish over here instead of next. Now when I click on this finish button, I'm redirected to the results page correctly. Okay, in the live project we can see this results page, and when I click on the show my answer button, we need to show the users all the questions and the answer they have selected with the correct answer highlighted like this. So for that we need to do something with the questions array, so that we can pass that state to this page and show it over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to modify the questions state. Every time the user selects an answer, I'm going to add a new key value pair in the questions array called selected answer, and for each question there will be a selected answer by the user, and so that in the end we can show it like this. So for that I'm going to modify this handle next function. I'm going to create a new variable updated question will be equal to all the questions that is currently in this question state. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to implement S over here, copy this and paste it over here. Oops. Okay, updated question of the current questions index. I'm going to modify the array in this index with everything inside the current question and a new key value pair called selected answer, which will be equal to selected with whatever value it is inside the selected state. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the questions state with this updated questions. Okay, now we can check if this works. So I'm going to console log it, console.log, and come back over here. I'm going to rush. Okay, if I clear this and select a question and hit the next button, we can see the array printed over here, and I think I selected the second one, right? So if we check over here, we have the selected answer, which is JavaScript. So if I click on C and next, okay, go here and the third question, yeah, the selected answer is C. Okay, now lastly what we have to do is we need to send the modified updated questions to the results page. So for that, what I'm going to do is over here, okay, I need to pass it as a object and will be state which is going to be questions, updated questions. That's how we're going to pass it to the results page. Now that we have completed the quiz page, the last thing that we have to do is develop the results page. Right now we can see this results shown in the project. So we have to design the results page. So we have to design the results page like this. It should have 3 cards, with one showing total questions, one have the correct answers, and the last one has the wrong answers. And when we click on the show my answers button, we need to display the questions with the answers like this. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, now first of all what we need to do is we need to make sure the questions that we pass from the quiz page is successfully reaching this result page. For that we need to import the use location hook that comes with the React drop-down library. So I'm going to import that over here. React drop-down. Okay, now I need to store this use location in a variable. So I'm going to write const location equal to use location. Okay, now just like the quiz section, we need to check if the questions is passed correctly. So for that I'm going to console log the location dot state dot questions. Now if we check the log, we can see the questions are successfully passed to this page. So now what we have to do is we need to handle the case where the questions are not correctly passed to this page. So for that I'm going to create a variable called questions and store the questions in this variable. So location dot state dot questions, and if the questions is empty or if the length of the question is equal to 0, we need to make sure that the user is redirected back to the starting page. So for that we need to use the use navigate hook that comes with the use location, and that comes with the React router DOM. Navigate, okay, and just like use location, I'm going to copy this and paste it over here. Get equal to, okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give an if condition. If the questions are not empty or the questions dot length equal to 0. Okay, in this case we need to navigate the user back to the home page. So CC, we just have to, that's it. Okay, now what we have to do is we need to show the result to the user. So the result, first I'm going to design these 3 cards, then we're going to get into this question section. So first what we need is the total questions, which is I'm going to store it in a variable. Const total questions equal to questions dot length, and next what we need is the number of correct answers, the number of questions that the user gave the correct answers to. So that I'm going to store it in a variable called total correct, which is equal to questions dot filter. Now inside this filter function, I'm going to take each question and give a condition like question dot selected answer equal to question dot correct NSWR, correct answer. Okay, and what I need is the length, LENGTH. Okay, now lastly what we need is the incorrect answer. So for that I'm going to store it in a variable called total incorrect, which is equal to total, should be equal to the total correct questions minus the total questions minus the total correct questions. Okay, now we have these 3 variables with the data that we need. Now all we have to do is we just have to show it in 3 attractive looking cards. Okay, now we are going to design the UI. Okay, so for that I'm going to copy these 2 div and paste it over here. So if we come over here, we can see that gradient and this card is here, and inside this card we are going to put this content. Okay, so I'm going to come back to this quiz page, copy this h2 and paste it over here, and instead of this I am going to write your quiz result. So if I come over here, you can see this. Now what we need to do is we need to show the summary cards. Okay, so for that I'm going to design it. And if you come over here, class name, I need it in a grid system, so I'm going to put it in grid calls 1. In small screens I need to put it in grid calls 3, and I'm going to give a small gap between them. Gap 6 will be sufficient, and a small margin bottom. Okay, now inside this grid I'm going to create 3 cards. First I'm going to give some class names. Okay, so inside this card I need an H3 element, a heading, and a paragraph tag to show the data. So for that I'm going to set up a H3 element and give some classes. Okay, it's going to be text of a large and the font semi bold, text indigo 700 will do, and a small margin bottom. And inside this I'm going to type total questions. Okay, now next line I'm going to add a paragraph tag, and inside this paragraph tag I'm going to print the total questions. Okay, and I'm going to give some styling to this div. I'm going to give text 3XL, font semi bold, and no, actually I'm going to give this font bold, and text indigo 800 will do. Now if I come back over here, you can see our first card, which looks similar. I think this card is wider than this one, so yeah. Okay, now it's perfect. Next, what we need to do is we need to add these 2 cards. For that I'm going to copy this and paste it twice, and I'm going to change this indigo to green, and here also I'm going to change it to green, and this is correct answers, and here I'm going to change this to red. Okay, this also I need to change to green. Here red, this is also red, and this is also red. Here I need to change this variable to total correct, and this is total incorrect, and this is going to be wrong answers. Okay, now if we come back over here, you can see that our 3 cards are arranged beautifully. Now next what we need to do is we need to create these two buttons, one to redirect the user back to the home page so that they can try the quiz again, and the other one to show their answers. Okay, so for that I'm going to design two buttons inside a div. I'm going to give some classes and mb10, this will do, and I need two buttons, so this one for try again, and this one for show my answers. Okay, now if we come back over here, you can see this, so we need to give it some styling. Okay, some padding, and I'm going to give some background color, indigo 600 will do, and text color could be white, and border radius, and a hover effect. And some additional styling like font semi-bold, small transition, and some margin in the right. So yeah, the try again button is ready. Now what we have to do is we need to style the show my answers button. So for that I'm going to copy this and paste it over here, and change the colors. So this is going to be green, here also green. So now if we come over here, we can see both the buttons are ready. Now if the user clicks on this button, we need to navigate the user back to the home page. So this time I'm going to do it using the arrow function instead of using the link component that comes with the React router DOM, just to show you. Okay, so navigate, and okay, this will redirect the user back to the home page. And in the case of my show my answers button, we need to show the questions to the user. So before giving some logic to this, first what we're going to do is we're going to design a div to show the answers. Okay, so for that I'm going to add some classes. I want the questions to be arranged in a grid format just like this, so I'm going to copy this and paste it over here. And I'm going to modify this and I'm going to give it large. To make this more responsive, I'm going to give it like this, grid calls 3 in large screens. Now inside this screen we are going to loop through each question and print it in the inside this div, and for that I'm going to create another div to show. For that I'm going to use the mapping function, questions.map, and I'm going to take each question, the index, okay, instead of curly brackets I should be giving a open and close bracket. Okay, so here I'm going to create a div element I'm going to give a key, because if you're mapping through each div, we need to give it a unique key. So as a key, I'm going to give the index, and some classes for styling. Okay, I'm going to give bg gray 100 and some padding, rounded pixel, and shadow. Okay, that will do. And first thing that we have to do is we need to show the question. So for that, I'm going to add an h4 tag, and inside the h4 tag, I'm going to show the question number and the question itself. So for that, to copy this index +1 and dot be perfect, and here I'm going to print the question. Okay, and for I'm going to give some styling. Okay, now inside this now under this h4, I'm going to print the options, and I also should mark the correct answer and the answer that the user selected, and if the if the answer that the user selected is correct, then it will be highlighted in green color, and if the answer that is selected by the user is incorrect, I'm going to highlight that option in red color separately, and the correct option will be highlighted in green color. So to set up that logic, we need to create another mapping function inside here, and I'm going to put this mapping function inside a div. Okay, and I'm going to give some classes to this div. 2. And going to take this question dot answers dot map. Okay, and inside this I'm going to take the answer, and I'm going to call the index of this mapping function I. Okay, and this will be an arrow function. Okay, so here I'm going to define some variables. So const is correct. Okay, here if the answer is selected by the user, it will be question dot correct. Okay, now if this condition is true, then is correct will be true, otherwise it will be false. So this we can use this variable to check which background that we have to give. If this is correct is true, we can give that option a green background color. And if another variable that we need is selected, so the answer is equal to the question dot selected answer, then is selected will be true, and we can give it a red background color. Okay, so I'm going to store that background color in a variable, so that it will be easier for us to apply. If is correct, is true, then I need to give a green background. So I'm going to give BG green and a border green 600 and text green 800. Okay, if in other case, if the selected is true and it's not correct, then we need to give it a red background color. So for that, I'm going to use BG red 200 and a border of red 600 and text red 800. That will do. If both these conditions are not true, then I'm going to give it a neutral color like BG white, border gray 300 and text gray 700. That will do. Now what we have to do is we need to print each option with the background color. Inside here a div and closing div, and I'm going to give this a key which will be I in this case, and I'm going to give this some classes for styling. So px for py2 and a border. I'm going to give it a rounded, LG will be fine, and lastly we need to give the appropriate background color. So for that we need to modify this. I'm going to give / and over here also, and here it's a dollar background color. Okay, now inside this div I'm going to print our option. Okay, so now if we come back over here, we can see our questions are printed over here, but the background green color is not coming properly for some reason. Yeah, because I made a typing mistake over here. Now if we come back, still it's border BG green, yeah, and over here I'm going to give 200. Okay, so now what we have to do is we need to toggle this show my answers button to show these questions dynamically. So for that we need a state, we need to define a state. So for that I'm going to import useState from React, and I'm going to define a state. Show answers comma set show answers is equal to use state of, by default I want it to be false because I don't want to show the answers by default. I only want to show it when the user clicks on that button. So next what we have to do is when the user clicks on this button, I need to set this state to true. So on click I'm going to put a curly open brackets, and here set show answers to true. And lastly, what we have to do is we just need to put this div inside a condition. Like this. I'm going to take this and put it over here. Okay, we need to check if the show answers state is true or not. If it is true, only we need to show it. So we can do it in a shorthand like this. If this is true, if the show answers is true, we can see this div. Otherwise, it won't be displayed. So if I format this document, it will be appearing more neatly. Now if we check, yeah, by default it's not appearing, but when I click on the show my answers button, the questions pop up. And so I need to give a small margin because this is stuck over here, so we can give it a small margin of, we can give a small margin to our padding over here. We can, that'll do. Okay, so if you reach this far, congratulations, we have successfully completed our React quiz project. So last thing that we have to do is we can test this project. So here users can go through the instructions and start this quiz. So let's try attempting this quiz. So what does CPU stand for? Central Processing Unit. In computing, what does MIDI stand for? I have no idea, so I'm going to go with musical instrument data interface. So what does MP3 stand for? You might think it's music player, but it's actually moving picture. Next, if you were to code software in this language, you'd only be able to type in zeros and one. That's easy binary. So which computer language would you associate Django framework? That's Python. What language does Node.js use? JavaScript. Easy. Which computer hardware device provides an interface for all other content devices to communicate? That's easy. Motherboard. Okay, what programming language was GitHub written in? That is very easy. Ruby. What is the name of layer 7 of OSI model application? And what does computer software acronym JVM stand for? Java Virtual Machine. Okay, so yeah, I made two incorrect answers. Oh, okay. Okay, so the first question I selected Central Processor Unit, even though I knew it is Central Processing Unit. I just didn't read the options properly. Second question, I didn't know what MIDI was, so I naturally made it incorrect. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel and share your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you, and I will see you in the next video.